Good evening, friends. Today we are going to learn about how to find the even and odd components of the signal, and also one more property of the signal, that is energy and power signals. Okay. So a signal is said to be even if x of minus t is equal to x of t, and it is odd if x of minus t is equal to minus of x of t. You are able to see the screen and my audio?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, let us see how we can test the signal and find out its even and odd components. Okay, using Python. So again, I'm using only SymPy library. So import SymPy, and from SymPy import all the functions. Then I'm defining T, A, N, and omega as symbols T, A, N, and omega. And I've taken these problems. X of t is equal to 3 cos of t by 2 plus 5 sine of t by 3. And second problem is x of t is equal to a sine of t sine t whole cube. So this becomes a cube sine cube of t. And third problem is a discrete times problem. X of n is equal to sine of n omega plus 1 whole square. And fourth one is also discrete, which is equal to x of n is equal to cos of n omega plus 1 whole square. Since omega is there, and also one more property of the signal, that is energy and power signals. Okay. So a signal is said to be even if x of minus t is equal to x of t, and it is odd if x of minus t is equal to minus of x of t. You are able to see the screen and my audio?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, let us see how we can test the signal and find out its even and odd components. Okay, using Python. So again, I'm using only SymPy library. So import SymPy, and from SymPy import all the functions. Then I'm defining T, A, N, and omega as symbols T, A, N, and omega. And I've taken these problems. X of t is equal to 3 cos of t by 2 plus 5 sine of t by 3. And second problem is x of t is equal to a sine of t sine t whole cube. So this becomes a cube sine cube of t. And third problem is a discrete times problem. X of n is equal to sine of n omega plus 1 whole square. And fourth one is also discrete, which is equal to x of n is equal to cos of n omega plus 1 whole square. Since omega is there, I have taken omega as a symbol, and t is there, so I have taken t, and there is a here. First you see your problem, which are the variables you have to declare as symbols at the beginning of the program. And then what else is there? N is also there, so n is also taken as a symbol here. Okay, so let us take the first problem. X of t is equal to 3 cos of t by 2 plus 5 sine of t by 3. So for this, first I take x of t as x1 of x1, and then x of minus t as x2. So x1 is 3, then cos function I'm taking from SymPy library. So it is sp dot cos of t by 2, then 5 into sp dot sine of t by 2. This trigonometric function, since I'm calling from the SymPy library, I'm giving prefix sp dot for both of them. Okay, that is our x of t, which I'm designating by the variable name x1. Then x2 is x of minus t. Just change the sign of the t term wherever it is in this x1 and write that x2. So x2 is 3 sp dot cos of minus t by 2 plus 5 into sp dot sine of minus t by 2. Okay, so these are the two x given function and its function with t changed to minus t. So that I'm going to display it. Okay, our x of t is 5 sine of t by 3 plus 3 cos of t by 2. And x of minus t is sine of minus t by 3 is minus 5 sine of t by 3 plus 3 cos of minus t by 2 is cos of plus t by 2. Okay, it has simplified and written. Now, what is the even component or odd component of this signal? We know that even component is given by x1 plus x of t plus x of minus t whole divided by 2. That is our even component. So here our x of t and x of minus t are x1 and x2. So I'm taking x1 plus x2 divided by 2. That gives me the even component. Let me run this. Okay. So when I run this, even component xe is equal to, so when you add these two and divide by 2, these two terms get cancelled, you get 3 cos of t by 2. And the odd component is x of t minus x of minus t whole divided by 2. So if I run that, I'll get this. Okay, so let me restart the kernel, clearing all the previous output. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. Okay, this is our x of t and x of minus t, and this is the even component, and this is the odd component. Okay, so given any x of t, this is how you should do. So the second problem also, a sine t whole cube. So that a into sp dot sine t, whole thing raised to the power 3. Then x of minus t is a sine of a into sp dot sine of minus t whole raised to the power of 3. Okay, so if I type that, the output will be a cube sine cube of t for x of t, and for changing t to minus t, I get minus a cube sine cube of t. So the even and odd components are, even component is 0 because when I sum this, it becomes 0. Odd component is, sum will be twice this, divided by 2 will be the same thing that I get. So that is about some continuous time signals, 2 examples I have taken. Like coming to discrete time signals, this is x of n is equal to sine of n omega plus 1 whole square. Okay. So let us first expand this and then designate it as x1. So x1 is expand, what I should expand? Sp dot sine of n into omega plus 1, that whole thing raised to the power of 2. So this is the expression that is given in the problem, that I am expanding it in SymPy and then typing that x1, taking the output of that x1. So when you expand this, it will be sine square n omega plus 1 plus 2 sine of n omega. So y1 will be change plus n to minus n and then expand it. So I am taking the x of minus n as expand, change the sign of n to minus n and then expand. I am designating it as y1. So that y1 is sine square n omega minus 2 sine omega plus 1. That is a plus b whole square here and a minus b whole square here. Then even component is sum of the 2 divided by 2. So these 2 cancels and you get sine square n omega plus 1 as the even component. Odd component, when you subtract, the last 2 terms will cancel. You get 2 sine of n omega as the odd component. Okay, that is this problem. And another problem is same cos of n omega plus 1 whole square. This also follow the same procedure. So I am designating this by x2, which is expand cos of n omega plus 1 whole square. And then x of minus n is designating it by y2, expand that cos of minus n omega plus 1 whole square. Then expand this, expand this. Then even component is sum of these 2 divided by 2, since all the terms are same, you get the same cos square n omega plus 2 cos n omega plus 1. And what about odd component? What do you get for odd component of this? Anyone?
0.
cos square n omega minus 2 cos n omega.
For odd component. Even
Will-
component is sum of these two plus divided by 2. Since all the terms are same, and you get
Zero.
2 times cos square n
Zero.
omega plus 4 times cos n omega plus 2. When I divide by 2, I get the same thing, cos square n omega plus 2 cos n omega plus 1. So what about odd component?
Zero, ma'am.
0. Looking into the signal itself, you can say that it doesn't have an odd component because cos is an even function. Cos square n omega is going to be an even function, and cos n omega is also an even function, and sum of the even function is going to be an even function. So I must get the odd component as 0 here. So it has only even component. Okay. So these two are extra lines, even component and odd component. Just take out these two. Okay, that is about finding out even and odd components of the given signal. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No? We'll proceed to energy and power signals.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is an energy signal? Let me enlarge this. So energy signal is the one for which power is 0 and energy is finite. And power signal is power is finite and energy is infinite. And all other combinations of this energy with 0 and infinite will result in neither energy nor power signal. Okay. So one combination is energy is infinite and power is 0. Okay. Or energy is infinite, power is also infinite, or both of them 0. All these three conditions will result in a signal which is neither energy nor power signal. So let us see how we can find out using the SymPy library. So for this, I have taken some problems. First one is x of t is equal to a constant between the time minus t1 by 2 to plus t1 by 2. That is, it is a rectangle signal which exists between minus t1 by 2 to plus t1 by 2 of amplitude a, and it is 0 elsewhere. Okay, that is the first signal. So let me do that, calculate that. So I'm importing SymPy and also importing SymPy as SP, importing all the functions of SymPy and importing SymPy as the short form SP. And check what are all the variables we have to define for all these 4 problems. One is t, next is capital A, t capital A, then t1, then n. That's all, no? Capital T, because energy calculations requires this capital T, and small n and capital N. So these are all defined as symbols here, and we don't need this init printing. Okay, so let me run this cell. And the first problem is x of t is equal to a between minus t1 by 2 to plus t1 by 2, and it is 0 elsewhere. So what is this? How to calculate the energy of the signal? Energy of the signal is integral absolute value of, if the signal is a complex one, then take the absolute value of that and square it and integrate it with respect to the time between minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, so that is the definition of energy of a signal. Now the signal exists only between minus t1 by 2 to plus t1 by 2. So we integrated between minus t1 by 2 and plus t1 by 2, and using SymPy, first let me write that integral equation. So I'm using integral that x of t whole square, that is a square, with respect to t between minus t1 by 2 to plus t1 by 2. So when I execute this is integral minus t1 by 2 to plus t1 by 2 a square into dt. And the energy is, evaluate this, that is integrate this a square with respect to t between limits minus t1 by 2 to plus t1 by 2, and display that after evaluating for this variable energy, display that as energy of the signal as a string, that is E1 is equal to, and then display that value, okay, where E1 is the energy. This E1 is equal to energy, I'm putting it here. I will show you for what purpose, okay. So E1 is the energy of the first problem, okay, and P1 is the power of the first problem. So let me evaluate this energy. So energy, we got the expression as A square into T1. Here T1 is finite and A is also finite. So A square T1 is going to be finite. So for this signal, energy is finite. Next, let us check what happens to the power. So power is, it is integral of A square between limits minus T1 by 2 to plus T1 by 2 over a certain period in the limit as that period tends to infinity. Okay, that is the definition of the power, which if you remember from your signals and systems class. So let me write that first integral expression. To take the limit, it is the limit, and within that outer bracket, I'll write the expression as integral, then x square, x of t square with respect to t between these two limits. So that is an integral expression that divided by t. This whole thing is the integral expression. And for limit, what is the limit variable as t tends to infinity? So capital T is the variable I have to take for the limit. And for what limit? As this t tends to infinity. This is the syntax for finding the limit. So if evaluating this whole thing, I get the power expression. So let me see what I'll get for power. So now I got power is equal to 0. So what is the type of signal here? I got energy as finite and power is 0. What type of signal it is?
Energy signal.
It is energy signal, is it not? So how to check it? I must write a code to see, check all the conditions and then come to the conclusion that what type of signal it is, okay? So for that, here I have written some codes with conditional statements using if. So first condition, now I am comparing this E1 and P1, where E1 is the energy of the first problem, P1 is the power of the first problem. So if E1 is infinity and P1 not equal to 0 and not equal to infinity, what does this mean? P1 not equal to 0 and P1 not equal to infinity. This and both the conditions must be satisfied. It should not be 0 and at the same time it should not be infinity. That means P1 is finite, is it not? This will be result in true if P1 is a finite value. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if this condition is true if P1 is finite, and that finite value along with if E1 is infinite, okay, if power is finite and E1 is infinite, it is a power signal, is it not? If this condition is satisfied, see, all are ANDed. That means all the three must be true. So E1 must be infinite and these two conditions on power. So P1 must be finite and E1 is infinite, then it is a power signal, okay? So if in the first if statement, if it results in true, it will execute this, display that x of t is a power signal and it comes out, okay? Suppose if it is not true, then it has to test the condition for energy signal. What is the condition for energy signal? Energy must be finite and power must be 0, okay? So if P1 is 0, and how to test for the finiteness of the energy? As here, check whether it is 0 or infinity. If not, if both of them are not satisfied, then it is a finite value. So if E1 is not equal to 0 And if E1 is not equal to infinity, then it indicates that energy is finite. And if P1 is not equal to 0, if P1 is equal to 0, then it satisfies this whole condition. Then it is going to be an energy signal. Okay. Then it executes this second line when this is true. What is the result of executing this? It is displaying X of t is energy signal. Okay, followed? And then it comes out of this loop. Suppose if this is also not true, that is false, then it will not execute this. Instead, it checks the other conditions. So other three conditions for neither energy nor power signal, those are tested in these three if statements. Okay. And if these two are not satisfied, any of these three will be satisfied. Then it prints that it is neither energy nor power signal. In this case, since E1 is the energy of the first problem that I have taken, and P1 is the power of the first problem, and according to the theory, it must result in a printout that it must display that it is an energy signal. Is it not? So let me execute this cell. So it has executed, and loop written is correct. Okay, X of t is energy signal. Followed? How we can test multiple conditions using if statements. Okay. So let us take the any doubt here in this problem?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. Next,
No, ma'am.
let us take the next problem. X of t is equal to cos of t. So all periodic signals will be what type of signals? Do you remember your signals and systems class? No?
Continuous.
All periodic signals are power signals. Okay. So let us first write the expression for the energy, that is integral cos square of t dt, integral limit from minus infinity to plus infinity. Since now the limit is not given, you have to integrate it between minus infinity to plus infinity. So sp dot cos of t raised to the power of 2 integral with respect to t between the limits minus infinity to plus infinity. So that is the symbolic representation of that integral minus infinity to plus infinity cos square of t dt. Now evaluate this integrate sp dot cos square of t between the limits minus infinity to plus infinity with respect to t. If you integrate this, whatever you get, that I am designating it as energy, that I am displaying for the string energy of the signal E2 is equal to, that value will be displayed for this. And I am designating that energy by E2, representing that it is the energy of the problem number 2. So why I am doing this, you will know at the end of the page after solving all the problems. So now we find that it is infinite energy. Okay. Next, let us find out the power of the signal. Power of the signal is x of t whole square integrated over a period capital T between minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 and average it over the period capital T. So that is the definition of power. So power of this signal is minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 cos square of t whole divided by t into dt. So evaluate that and evaluate this integration and take the limit as this capital T tends to infinity. So in the limit, as this t tends to infinity, evaluate the expression. This is same as the previous line, but now it is integrate to get the evaluation of this integral. So next, designate that as P2. So let us see what we get. Power is half. So here for this signal, energy is infinite, power is finite. So it is a
Power signal.
power signal. So if I execute the same thing I have copied here to test which condition is going to be met by this signal. So, but I'm taking E2 and P2 now to find indicate that it is for the problem 2. So it must display XFT as power signal. Okay. Followed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that is about continuous time signals. Then for the discrete time signals, this is an example of a discrete time signal. XFN is equal to 1/4 to the power of n into u of n. Okay. So what is the energy of a discrete time signal? It is sigma x of n raised to the power of 2. Okay. And sigma has to be taken between the limit 0 to minus infinity to plus infinity. Since this signal is multiplied by u of n, the limit is for the summation is taken from 0 to infinity, and the variable is small n. So sigma is written by sum in SimPy with a capital S. So sum of 1/4 to the power of n is the given problem, and raise it to the power of 2, and the variable is n, and take the summation between 0 to infinity to account for this u of n. Okay, that gives you the energy. Okay, now I'm not going, I'll also type this. Let me type that to show you. I'll take this to next cell. So let me type, get the energy of this. I don't get it because I did not ask it to give the output. So energy is sigma, n is equal to 0 to infinity. 1/4 is 0.25 to the power of 2n. Okay, this is the sigma. And if you evaluate this and designate it as E3, if you evaluate this from 0 to infinity, you get it as 1. So this is the energy of the third problem. Okay. The next, power. Power is sigma, same x of n square, sum it between minus n to plus n, minus capital N to plus capital N. Now, since it is multiplied by u of n, the summation is between 0 to capital N, and whole divided by 2 times the period that is considered. Okay, 2 times the n. So if you evaluate this, let me take this to the next cell. Let me get the power as the output. So it is sigma n varying from 0 to capital N, 0.25 to the power of n, whole divided by 2n. Next, first you evaluate this summation, then take the limit as n tends to infinity. That is done here. So y is equal to power dot do it, then power 1. To simply differentiate between this power, I have taken one more variable, power 1, which is equal to limit with respect to this y, limit of this y as n tends to infinity. That power, that is the power that I am designating it by P3, which is the power of the problem 3. Okay, power is 0. Here we got energy as finite, power as 0. So what is the type of signal? Power 0, energy finite.
Energy signal.
Energy signal. So I must get the output as energy signal for this if statements, taking the power and energy of the problem 3. Okay, you differentiate between the various if blocks here. In the first one, I took E1 and P1. And in the second case, I took E2 and P2. Third case, I'm taking E3 and P3. So in the fourth problem, this is t to the power of minus 0.5 into u of t minus 2. Okay. So what must be the limit of this for this integral? It is multiplied by u of t minus 2. If this is not there, integration will be from minus infinity to plus infinity. because I'm multiplying it by u of t minus 2, this signal will exist for t greater than or equal to 2, is it not? U of t minus 2 is a unit step signal shifted to the right by 2 units on the positive t axis. So the t will be finite for t greater than or equal to 2 up to infinity. So the limit for integration, first I'll write integral t to the power of 0.5 whole to the power of 2 is our x of t whole square. Then integrate it with respect to t for t varying from 2 to infinity. Okay. So that is the energy of this problem. That is integral expression. So integral 0 to infinity t to the power of 1.0. That is because minus half whole square becomes minus 1. So it is minus 1 dt. Okay. Next, evaluate that integral equation and display that energy as E4. That is energy of the problem 4. So we got energy as infinite. So this next, let me evaluate the power. Power is integral of the same thing, but divide by 2 capital T is the power signal, but that limit I have to take after making capital T to tend to infinity. So first let me evaluate this intermediate signal x1, which is 1 by capital T, then integral of, first let me get that integral equation. So integral 2 to t by 2, t to the power of minus 1 dt whole divided by t. That is the expression that we wanted here. Then take the limit of that and evaluate it. Okay, so integrate, will evaluate it and take the limit of this whole thing as t tends to infinity and display the power as P4. P4 is equal to 0. So here we have energy as infinite and power as 0. What type of signal is this?
Power signal.
Power signal.
How come? Energy is not, for power signal, power must be finite. Is it finite? 0 is not finite, no?
Yes, ma'am.
If energy is infinity, power is 0, it is
Neither energy nor
neither energy nor
Power
power
signal.
signal. Is it not? This condition. Power is 0. P4 is equal to 0 and it is not equal to infinity. And E4 is infinity. So it is neither power nor energy signal. Okay. So similarly, this 5th and 6th problem also, I'll just execute it. This is e to the power of minus 2t plus 1. So that e to the power is exp or capital V will give you that e to the power. So capital E raised to the power of 2 into t, then plus 1 is our signal x. Then take that integral of that whole square, x whole square. With respect to t, take the limits between minus infinity to plus infinity. Since this signal, we don't know, it is not given from where to where it is existing. So we have to integrate it between minus infinity to plus infinity. So that is integral minus infinity to plus infinity, e to the power of 2t plus 1. That is what is given here. Okay. Whole square. That is what we want, x square dt. Okay. So this is the given problem. Then evaluate that integral and we get the energy as infinite. Next, take the limit of that integral. Okay, this take after dividing by 1 by 2t, take the limit. In the limit as t tends to infinity, we get power as infinity. Okay, here both energy and power are infinite, so it is a what type of signal? Neither energy nor power signal, is it not? NENP, that is neither energy nor power signal. Similarly, the last one is T u of t. This is a ramp signal, is it not? T into u of t. So x I'm taking t square and then take the integral of that and also evaluate the energy of that. Integral t square dt from minus infinity from 0 to infinity because it's multiplied by u of t. I'll get it as infinity because we know that this is a ramp signal which goes on increasing up to infinity. So when you integrate it, you will get infinity. And take the power, calculate the power. Power also you get as
Infinity, ma'am. Power also
Yeah.
infinity.
Yeah. So it is a
Neither energy nor
neither
power.
energy nor power signal. Okay. For this problem, I have not written that tableau. Instead, one more case I am demonstrating here. For all these 6 problems, I have taken the energy that we have calculated as an array and power also as an array. Okay. Energy is designated by an array ENR and this array E1, E2, E3, E4, E5 gives the energy that are evaluated in the previous problems, steps. And the power I am designating it by P. And this is an array consisting of all the powers. Okay. So let me display these arrays. So first problem has got a to the power of 2t1 as the energy. Second problem energy is infinity. Third one is energy is 1. Fourth, fifth, sixth are all infinite energy. And the powers are first one is 0, second one is half, and all the remaining problems. For these 2 problems 0 and these 2 problems are infinite. So why I have taken is to illustrate once again how we can display multiple. See here in these steps now I just took a one element and compared. Instead, if it has multiple elements, how I can make it as a indexed array and index it, and for each I'll compare all these conditions and display for each value of I what is the type of the signal. See this you can make use of. Somebody asked no that day how whether we can make all the subplots in a loop. You just think of doing this way also. Okay, so you have to have your own ideas there. So maybe it requires some more different way of organizing the things, but this is you understand this how I have done it here. Okay, so now I generate I'll arrange 0 to 6, arrange it np dot arrange 0 to 6. So this will arrange give an array 0 1 2 3 4 up to 5. Okay, 0 to 5. So first one, when I take ENR of 0 for I in n, okay, for each value of in the array n. So first one is 0. So ENR of 0, 0th element in ENR is a to the power of 2t1, and it checks whether it is equal to infinity. Then P of I, it picks from this array. So first element it picks. It checks whether what condition is met in this. Okay. So wherever it meets that, it prints the respective display and then comes back to execute this for loop until all the elements in this n array is over, so that it will test all the power and energy of all the 6 problems. Okay. So let me execute this. NP is not defined because I have not. Did I import NumPy? Without importing NumPy, I used here np dot arrange 0 to 6. Okay, that is why it's giving error in that line, stating that NP is not defined. So I have to import NumPy. And run this cell. And remaining all cells don't need that NumPy, so I need not worry about it, and come to the last cell where we need that NumPy. Okay. So for the first problem, we have found that x of t is energy signal. So first I have given that print I plus 1, because I is starting from 0. but we have designated our first problem as 1. So that is why I'm incrementing this I to I plus 1. So first problem, x of t is energy signal. Second problem, power signal. Third problem, if you remember, it is energy signal. Fourth, fifth, sixth are neither power nor energy signal. Got this idea of how we can make an array and index that array and get multiple values and check for multiple conditions and execute this comparison and display the appropriate display. Did you understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No doubt in this energy and power?
No, ma'am.
No? Shall I move on to the next part?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So under standard signal simulation, I left out one more important signal simulation, that is impulse. Okay. So before proceeding with the impulse, see, we have two impulses. One is under our continuous time domain, continuous time impulse signal, and other one is impulse signal in the discrete domain. Okay. So in the continuous time domain, how the impulse is defined? It is defined as a we represent it by means of a line of length 1, is it not? So it actually derived with the condition that, see, if you consider this rectangle whose width and height are such that the area enclosed by this rectangle is equal to 1. In the limit as this width tends to 0, this height tends to 1 over that width. Okay, to make this area is equal to 1, I must have a height of this rectangle is equal to 1 over the width of this rectangle, is it not? So in the limit as this tends to 0, this goes to infinity, or we say that it is a line with 1 magnitude, indicating that the area is tending to 0 and height is 1, indicating that the area enclosed by that infinitesimally small rectangle is equal to 1. That is how the impulse in a continuous time domain is defined. Okay. So now I am generating this rectangle by means of two step signals. First, let me generate it around 0. So that shift left and shift right, both are symmetric. Sorry, this is okay. Now this rectangle is around the 0, x is equal to 0 point, or around the y-axis. So this you understood, no? As this x tends to 0, what that signal is called the impulse signal. So now I have written this x scale from minus 0.02 to plus 0.02. And if I make it, if I make this width of this still smaller, you see the signal. So this is the approximate signal which is approximated to an impulse. Followed? So if I expand this x-axis, you can still see the rectangle. Suppose instead of drawing from minus 0.02 to plus 0.02, if I change the x and y limits here, sorry, not y, only x limit from minus 0.002 to plus 0.002 and run it, you see the rectangle here. Okay. So similar to the previous two graphs, if you make it as 0.02 to 0.02 on either side of 0, you get it as an impulse. This is the impulse. Okay. So with this, if I multiply a sinusoidal signal, so what is the resultant if I multiply this with a sinusoidal signal? So any signal, if you multiply by an impulse, what is the resultant?
That
Value
impulse.
of the signal at the instant at which the impulse is occurring, is it not?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm? So instead of sine, I will take a cos here because sine is 0 around. So let me take a cosine signal, and between 0.02 to 0.02 on either side of this 0, this is the signal that I am having, and its amplitude is 1. Okay. So if you multiply this by y into what I have designated here, the impulse is IMPULSV. Okay. So y multiplied by, so I'll make that as some z is equal to y multiplied by impulse and PLT dot plot. Let me copy that whole thing. No, don't want a subplot now. PLT dot, what is our x-axis is t, y-axis is z. Okay. You just see. So what is the value of the signal at t is equal to 0? It is 1, but now the width is not exactly 0. If it is exactly 0, this goes to 1. That is the approximation that we write. But here, in order to make the width multiplied by height is equal to 1, the height has been adjusted to 5000. Followed? 5000 multiplied by the width. Width I have given from minus 0.301 to plus 0.301. So what would be the width? 302. 302 multiplied by 5000, you will get it as 1. Okay. Any doubt? That is why this has got a height of 5000. So when I multiply this sine wave of amplitude 1 with this signal, this value of this at this point, we get it as 5000. Followed? But for all our purposes, we take this as a height is equal to 1 because we make this width is equal to 0. So when you multiply this cos signal by that, we will get 1 here instead of this 5000. This 5000 we are getting because of the reason that the definition of the impulse is applied here to generate the impulse signal. Any doubts? No? We'll proceed to discrete time impulse. So what is the discrete time impulse? It is a signal appearing at n is equal to 0 of height 1. Okay. Or if it is an impulse of certain strength, that is what. So here I am trying to change our step signal definition now to suit for the impulse signal. So what was step signal definition? Fn underscore step, and discrete time step has got variables n and the amplitude and the shift. Okay. And we also initiated a array u with zeros n. Here I'm instead of u, I'm taking a delta as the variable to represent that this corresponds to impulse signal generation. So it is zeros. So what I should do with these zeros? I must replace only that 0 which is at the value shift with a value is equal to a, and make retain all the other zeros as it is. Okay. That will generate a general impulse of strength a at the location given by this shift. Okay. So same for loop here as it is for generating a unit, generating the step signal. for I in range from 0 to capital N. Capital N is the length of the array that we are organized for the discrete time signal. So instead of linspace, we take a range so that we will have the discrete steps of values for this small n. So I'm taking it here from -10 to +10. So we will have total 21 points arranged in this order from -10 to +10. And I calculate the length of this array n, and that is capital N, that will be passed on to this, so that this delta array is consisting of number of zeros, which is given by capital N. Then I initialize this A and shift with some value. And then this is the figure size that I have given. Then call this function with the required value of amplitude and shift. So first I will call it with amplitude 1 and shift 0, so that I will have a unit impulse generated. So once this function is called, the calculations after calculating or completing this for loop, it returns delt and comes back to this point. Okay. So at this point, when it executes this function definition and comes back, we will have the delta function or the impulse function ready. That I'm plotting with respect to the discrete instance of time on the x-axis, that is small n, in the form of stem plot. Okay. So with the x limit, y limit, and all the axis modifications, and the x and y tick at discrete points, which I have explained in the previous class by means of these two lines, and then also the grid. So if I execute this, I get an impulse. This is what we write the impulse representation. Unit impulse at shift is equal to 0 at the origin. Okay. So now you can change that shift. Say, let us say that I'll change it to 5. So you got the unit impulse at n is equal to 5. You can shift it on either side. -5 will shift it to the left side. And you can even change the strength of the impulse. I'll change it to 2. So here we have the impulse of strength 2 at n is equal to -5. Any doubts? No? So you just same definition of the step signal, how we can modify it to generate the impulse signal, and then plotting it. And you can now take this impulse and give it to take it for further any computations with the required modifications. Okay. So that's all about today's plan for